thinking what a very jolly and amusing and attractive 16-year-old she was. And having great fun.
For decades, King Charles's complicated love life has fascinated the world. From his troubled marriage with Princess Diana to his enduring relationship with Queen Camilla, speculation has never faded. However, amidst the endless rumors, Charles once made a confession that left many stunned. "She is my one true love," he admitted, his voice both steady and contemplative. After spending a lifetime in the public eye, it appears that the heart of a king is not as divided as many had assumed. Yet, could there still be lingering doubts about his choice of wife? After years of navigating love under intense scrutiny, does King Charles ever wonder, what if? Born in 1948 as the heir to the British throne, King Charles grew up under the influence of one of the most iconic monarchs in history. From an early age, his life was shaped by duty and responsibility. While his public image projected the grandeur of royalty, deep down, he understood that preserving the stability of the crown mattered more than his personal happiness, especially when it came to choosing a life partner. Charles's romantic relationships being influenced by the monarchy's interests would not be the first time love had been used as a political tool rather than a personal pursuit. Looking back through history, the British Crown has always carefully arranged alliances to ensure its continuity, sometimes even using marriage to establish diplomatic ties. A prime example is King Charles's great-uncle, Edward VIII, who fell in love with Bessie Wallace Simpson, an American socialite who had been divorced twice. At the time, Edward VIII was convinced that he had found true love, and nothing could deter him. The heart desires what it desires, and he was willing to sacrifice everything for it. As Edward pursued his relationship with Wallace, the royal family did not respond with hatred or disdain, but rather with constitutional concerns. During that era, monarchs, despite their immense power, were still bound by certain rules, one of which stated that a king could not marry a woman who had been divorced while her former husband was still alive. Aware of these restrictions, Edward VIII knew he was faced with a choice that would determine his future. Edward VIII faced two choices, either to simply let go of his love or abdicate the throne, allowing his brother, George VI, to take over as king while he pursued the desires of his heart. The first option seemed to carry an air of bravery and patriotism, appearing to be the only real choice, while the second was more of a formality. However, in 1936, he shocked the world by abdicating the throne in favor of love. Initially, he attempted to bend the British crown to his will, but the crown bows to no one. It commands, and all must fall in line. Charles, however, faced a different dilemma. His choice was between Diana, a love interest from the aristocracy, and Camilla Parker Bowles, who had no aristocratic ties. In truth, the crown had already made the decision for him. Yet, how did that decision ultimately unfold? Like any young man born into royalty, Charles was a sought-after figure, admired by women across the United Kingdom and beyond. After all, who wouldn't want the chance to date the future king of the British monarchy? But his life was far more complicated than the average man's. Shakespeare was right, uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. Every aspect of his life had to follow a strict set of rules, even in matters of the heart. Despite these constraints, Charles seemed fortunate at first, as love appeared to be within his grasp when he met Sarah Spencer, his initial choice. While their relationship was not widely discussed in the media, it played a crucial role in his life, as it eventually led to his introduction to Diana. Sarah Spencer, daughter of Earl John Spencer and Frances Shand Kydd, was one of Charles's first widely known romances. However, she was an independent woman who lived by her own rules, something Charles was unwilling to accept. Their relationship ended when she reportedly shared details about their private life and later dismissed their romance altogether. She famously stated that she would never marry Charles, whether he were the dustman of England or the future king. The world waited for an explanation, a reason that would shed light on the sudden breakup. Yet, Sarah offered no real answer, at least not in words. Shortly after parting ways with Charles, she married Neil McCorquodale, a writer and the son of Alistair McCorquodale, a legendary British athlete and cricketer. While Neil was a respectable match for the daughter of an earl, societal class distinction still placed him a step below the heir apparent to the British throne. Nevertheless, she made her choice, marrying Neil, though she remained close friends with Charles. Meanwhile, Charles found himself drawn to another Spencer daughter, Diana. Although she was 13 years younger than him, he pursued her regardless. With Diana's blessing, he disregarded caution and pushed forward with their relationship. Their union appeared to be the perfect match for the British monarchy. Finding the right words can be difficult, can't it? Charles was undoubtedly delighted and happy to have the support of his mother, the late Queen Elizabeth II, and his father, Prince Philip. Diana seemed like the perfect match. She was the youngest daughter of an earl, her innocence unquestioned, and a member of the aristocracy. While Charles saw love, the crown saw the ideal social union. On July 29, 1981, they married, and the world watched in awe as 20-year-old Diana experienced the grandest British wedding ever, joining 32-year-old Charles in matrimony. Despite the outward spectacle, Charles had lingering doubts, as his heart longed for Camilla Parker. He had kept his relationship with her a secret from his family, fearing she wouldn't be accepted because she was not from the aristocracy. Torn between love and duty, he struggled to find a way forward. King Charles rebelled internally, and though his marriage to Diana remained a major part of British popular culture, their home was in turmoil. Even so, Princess Diana did everything she could to hold their family together. For a time, their marriage seemed secure as Diana gave birth to an heir and a spare, Prince William and Prince Harry. She hoped their children would solidify their bond and bring Charles closer to her, but his mind remained fixated on Camilla. There was something about her that no one else could match. He found himself at a painful crossroads, where love and duty clashed. The battle within him had to end, and he had only one choice to make. In the end, the decision was not difficult. He chose Camilla over the mother of his children. At first, Charles did not end his marriage outright. Instead, he attempted to make it work as a relationship of three, believing they could all coexist. But Diana refused to accept such an arrangement. She had married young, completely devoted to the only man she had ever truly loved, only to feel betrayed when he turned to someone from his past. Heartbroken and angry, she lashed out, openly challenging the crown and engaging in several romantic affairs within and around Buckingham Palace. The royal family's reputation suffered greatly, with the Queen watching from a distance as the scandal escalated. Never before had the monarchy faced such relentless bad press, with Charles and Diana's troubled marriage and infidelity at the center of it all. As their personal war continued, Prince Philip and Queen Elizabeth could no longer stand by. They summoned the couple and gave them an ultimatum: either reconcile immediately or get a divorce. As expected, they took separate paths. Both parties finalized their divorce and chose to move on with their lives. However, even before their divorce was officially completed in 1996, the couple openly dated other people. Despite this, their separation presented a significant challenge for Prince Charles. The situation was reminiscent of King Edward VIII, who had to abdicate the throne to marry a divorcee. However, in Charles's case, the challenge was slightly different. He was now a divorce with a living ex-wife, Diana. That changed when she tragically lost her life in a highly questionable car accident in 1997, just a year after their divorce. Diana's death brought both resolution and complications for the monarchy. For years, Charles's affairs had been carefully concealed, particularly his relationship with Tiggy Legberg, his children's nanny, a relationship that Diana herself exposed before her untimely demise. While his other romances were kept secret, his love for Camilla was an exception. Their relationship was one of the worst-kept secrets in British royal history. However, even after divorcing Diana, Charles remained trapped. He could not marry Camilla due to the constitutional challenges that loomed over him like a dark cloud. But when Diana, the beloved people's princess, died in 1997, that obstacle disappeared. In the aftermath, suspicions arose, and many began to question the circumstances of her death. Was this a mere stroke of fate, a convenient act of providence that cleared Charles's path? Or did Charles and Camilla take matters into their own hands, crafting a solution to an otherwise impossible situation? The facts were simple: a high-profile woman with strong ties to the crown had died unexpectedly, prompting an official investigation. The most pressing question was, who stood to gain the most from her death? It was not difficult to see why suspicion immediately fell upon the one man whose future plans had been hindered by Diana's continued existence. The scandal placed the royal family under intense scrutiny, tarnishing their reputation yet again. While Diana's death solved one of the royal family's dilemmas, it also created a new crisis, planting seeds of mistrust within the monarchy. Although the royal family initially faced widespread suspicion, they were soon distanced from the list of suspects, and the world united in mourning Diana's loss. However, beneath the grief, an unsettling feeling remained, a sense of helplessness and despair. What was already a difficult situation only grew more complicated in the wake of Diana's tragic passing. Years after Princess Diana's passing, rumors about letters she had written and secretly given to her butler, Paul Burrell, resurfaced online. Paul revealed that Diana had penned these letters during a time when she felt isolated by the royal family, whom she allegedly believed wanted her gone. The revelation of these letters reignited a wave of conspiracy theories, once again casting a shadow over the royal family's reputation. Paul claimed that the letters detailed Diana's fears of being constantly monitored by the British royal family, particularly by Charles, who, according to her, no longer wanted her around. Paul Burrell further alleged that the letters served as a warning that Diana's life was in danger. She reportedly wrote that Charles wanted to marry Camilla but had to remove her from the equation due to royal protocols. The letter supposedly described a planned brake failure leading to a fatal crash, in which she would hit her head and succumb to her injuries. While some dismissed these claims as baseless, the striking similarity between the letter's contents and the actual circumstances of Diana's death fueled further speculation. As discussions surrounding the letters intensified, Charles and the royal family refrained from addressing the controversy. However, King Charles recently stepped forward to speak about the love of his life. Although Charles's relationship with Camilla has long been an open secret and a significant factor in his troubled marriage, he has now openly shared the story of their romance. Their relationship began in 1970 when they met at a polo match, and Charles described it as love at first sight, an instant connection he had never experienced before. As their bond grew stronger, their affection became undeniable. However, Charles, committed to his duty, chose to serve in the Royal Naval Force. Camilla, uncertain about their future, made the decision to move on and married Andrew Parker Bowles, while Charles later wed Princess Diana. Despite their respective marriages, Charles and Camilla maintained a deep connection, one that Diana found far too close for comfort. She often expressed frustration over feeling sidelined in her own marriage. Eventually, the growing strain led to divorce. After years of speculation and controversy, Charles and Camilla finally married in April 2005, solidifying their relationship as more than just a scandalous affair but a love that had stood the test of time. Their marriage has not been without its challenges. Queen Camilla was not born into the aristocracy like Diana, making it difficult for her to adapt to the numerous royal engagements she had to attend and the endless hands she was expected to shake. Adjusting to this new life was no easy task, but she handled it with remarkable grace. King Charles himself acknowledged her resilience, praising her ability to face these challenges without complaint. Camilla never aspired to be queen, she simply wanted to marry the man she loved. However, marrying the future king came with responsibilities she could not avoid. Unlike Diana, who was constantly in the media spotlight, Camilla has largely remained private. King Charles explained that while she values her privacy, she is still open to letting people into her space. He admired her ability to navigate unfamiliar situations and highlighted her warm, humorous nature, which has been a source of strength for both of them. For 2 decades, she has stood by his side, providing unwavering support. The reason behind this rare public expression of affection was clear: King Charles wanted the world to understand where his heart truly lay, even though Diana was his first wife. Despite his deep love for Camilla, Charles had also cared for Diana in the past. During a joint interview, when asked about their relationship, Diana confidently affirmed, "Of course we are in love." However, Charles's response was less straightforward. "Whatever love is," he replied, adding, "I suppose in love, of course, whatever in love means." His words were open to interpretation, but many believed this was his way of saying that while he had affection for Diana, his heart belonged to Camilla. Over the years, Charles had dropped subtle hints about his true feelings, though few had paid close attention. Now, 2 decades after choosing Camilla, history seems to be repeating itself through his son, Prince Harry, who also placed love above royal duty. Prince Harry's decision to follow his heart mirrors that of his father. While being born into royalty comes with privileges, personal choices, especially in matters of love, are rarely simple. Although such decisions may seem individual from an outsider's perspective, they often require some level of family approval to avoid repeating history, such as King Edward VIII's abdication. This time, Prince Harry, often referred to as the Spare, followed the path of both his father and great-uncle, choosing love over duty. He met Meghan Markle, an American Hollywood actress, through a social media post and was later introduced by a mutual friend. For a while, they kept their relationship hidden from both the public and the royal family. They soon decided it was time to make their relationship public. Their first appearance at Buckingham Palace was met with smiles and a warm reception, but things quickly took a turn for the worse. Meghan was not welcomed into the inner circles of the palace, and controversies such as slander, alleged conflicts, and the Tiaragate incident created a wave of negative publicity around her. Harry refused to stand by and watch. Much like his great-uncle before him, he chose to abandon his royal duties and follow the woman he loved across the Atlantic, settling in the United States. As rumors of King Charles's disappointment spread through the media, it became clear that his own past was not too different from Harry's. However, Harry went even further by documenting his family's alleged treatment of his wife and the reasons behind his decision in his book Spare, released on January 10, 2024. It was a striking example of history repeating itself. The monarchy has always required personal sacrifice, prioritizing the crown above all else. Yet, across generations, both father and son made the bold choice to follow their hearts instead of duty, proving that even those who wear the crown are human, with emotions and desires that cannot be ignored. Do you think King Charles was right to follow his heart's desires even after marrying Diana? Can Camilla ever fully earn William and Harry's acceptance? Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.